asked the builder, and I just wanted to try this live feed. It's my first time doing a vertical live, and I wanted to talk a little bit about some things you might not know about the horrible wildfires and fighting these fires out in Los Angeles. It might be really helpful information for you when you discuss it with other people or you see some things online where people are criticizing firefighters and politicians and whatever. And I was a builder for 20 plus years. Firefighting has always been a hobby of mine. And here's the step one that you need to know. If you've never been out to the Los Angeles area, and I've been out there many, many times, I have a lot of friends and I have even family out there now. It's a huge area. I can't begin to tell you how big it is. The Los Angeles basin and some of the other valleys like the San Fernando Valley, I mean, it's 60, 70, 80 miles long. It's huge, all right? It's a big area. And the mountains there are very, very steep. That are that are north of the basin. I mean, you can go here onto YouTube if you want to see how steep they are. Quite a few years ago, I did a really kind of interesting video called "The History of the Cobb Salad." Go watch that video. We were actually on a hike going up to on these mountains, and it was very steep, very hard. All right, so I couldn't even imagine trying to drag a fire hose up or down one of those hills. Anyway, here's what you need to know about fighting a fire. Number one, if you live in a city, like I used to live in Cincinnati, Ohio, let's just talk about an average house fire. Like, just say a house catches on fire. It could be a kitchen fire. It could be a pretty significant fire. That first alarm that comes out, it's usually somewhere between 3 and 5 fire trucks. And there might be 3 or 4 guys on each truck, men and women. All right, so here you've got somewhere between 12 and 20 people fighting the fire. And that's all it really takes, all right? If they know what they're doing and whatever, they get the fire out. All right, so let's talk about the Eaton fire. I had friends of mine who, they lost their home in the Eaton fire, and I've been to their home several times. It's in Altadena, and in their subdivision, they were up above the Jet Propulsion Lab, and their area, they have 271 houses in this subdivision, and 53 of them were on fire. All right, so 53 houses at one time, and you might need 3 to 5 trucks per house, so you can do the math. All right, so we're up near 200 fire trucks. There's not 200 fire trucks in Altadena. And not only that, the rest of Altadena was on fire too. All right. So, and there's a thing called mutual aid. In other words, as soon as there's a big fire like this, what happens is all the other departments, that are near Altadena or near the Palisades or whatever, they get called in. All right. So, but the trouble is that you remember, you need 3 to 5 trucks per house, all right? So it's unrealistic for anyone to think that even if you had all the fire trucks operating out there, that they could put out these fires. That's not realistic. The second thing, I'm a master plumber. I don't hear hardly any of this being discussed online at all. I don't see any articles about this. This is really important. You need to understand that the water lines, the water mains that are buried underground that produce water and supply water to the fire hydrants are the same exact water mains that are used to supply water to the homes and businesses, all right? And in a typical subdivision, like my friends, they might have an 8-inch water main, under the pavement, all right? That's a pretty big pipe, 8-inch pipe. And, and it might have a pressure in it of, I don't know. I see a comment. I'll check that in just a second. Sure. Yeah, I can absolutely tell you about that question. I'll get to that in a moment. These municipal water systems, they can handle maybe 1 or 2, like in my buddy's subdivision. 271 houses. Understand that a typical fire engine can pump 1,500 gallons per minute, all right? That's a lot of water, all right? So you can't expect a water system to have 50 trucks hook up to it and everybody get water. Even if they have the water in the reservoirs, even if they have water in the tanks up above my buddy's subdivision, the system can't supply that much water. So you've got to keep that in mind when you discuss this with people, when they talk about running out of water. And of course they can run out of water. Absolutely, it can happen, all right, for a number of reasons. But I just want you to know that the municipal system at your home, in your city or your town, if you have a water main out in the street, it can handle 1 or 2 or 3 trucks hooking up to it, maybe 4. But you can't have 50, all right? Now, when you get into the inner city, the fire hydrants in inner cities, they connect to much bigger pipes, all right? But that's not the case in all these residential streets, all right? So I just want you to understand that don't raise your expectations about how easy it would be to fight these fires, all right? And then, now let's add to it the wind, all right? So here's a chat. It says, give us your thoughts about why all homes burnt to the dust, including granite, stainless steel, vehicle engine blocks, but no trees burnt. When will they talk about the truth going on here? Okay, so that's a really interesting question. Here's what's going on with the trees. So I got photos. I'm going to actually create a new video that I'm probably going to upload tomorrow to my Ask the Builder channel that's going to show you my friend's home and the trees right next to it, and they're all charred. The trees are gone, the vegetation's gone, but the tree itself did not burn. All right, now, it's on the edge of the fire. Got to keep that in mind, all right? So understand that the tree is on the edge of the fire. The reason the trees don't burn is because the trees have water in them, all right? And if you've ever tried to start a fire before, if you've ever gone to a camp out or whatever, you cannot, you have a big trouble trying to burn wet wood. And the reason you have that trouble is for the wood to burn, you need to boil off all of the water in that tree, all right? And that would happen if you threw the tree inside the burning house or the burning buildings. But when the trees are on the outskirts of the fire, it's hot there, but it's not hot enough to do that, or it's not hot enough, long enough to do that. So those are the dynamics of that burning of that wood. So, but you already know that wood burns really rapidly when it's dry, because all of these houses, they're being consumed with that 60, 70, 80 mile per hour wind blowing on them. It's like starting a fire in your own yard. If you've never done this before, it's really kind of an interesting experiment. I mean, I don't want you to do it if the conditions are dangerous, but go start a campfire, and if you have a portable electric powered leaf blower or gasoline powered, aim the leaf blower at it, because or stand back 10 feet, and by the time the air gets to the fire, it'll probably be 50 or 60 miles per hour. You'll see how hot that fire gets. It's the same exact effect that when you go to an old blacksmith's forge and they have the bellows, and when they blow air, they're pumping that bellows and they're blowing air into that fire. That's what gets that fire so flipping hot that it can get steel on fire. Same thing. Go here into YouTube, go watch any blacksmith videos where an old blacksmith is using a bellows, and they can actually get that fire inside the forge hot enough to melt the steel. All right, so that's why that's happening with the stainless steel, the vehicle engine blocks. You can easily do that as long as you have the wind blowing. You need to have the wind going. So that's really kind of it. That's all I really want to share with you. We're still early in this whole process, right? So if you'll notice with all of these, any news story, here it's Tuesday. It's only been a week. It was just a week ago that the fire started. All right. So as we go down the timeline, we're going to get more facts, and we're going to learn more. Well, hopefully we will. Hopefully we'll be able to uncover the truth of what really happened. My biggest question is, it seems to me that the fires, the 3 major fires, the Palisades, the Eaton fire, and I can't remember the name of the other one, but they all seem to have started at the same time. And I have a problem with that. I don't think that that was a coincidence. I think that would be very unlikely. So I'm a little worried about that. So anyway, I plan to do a lot more of these streaming verticals. I'm glad you liked it. If you want to learn more from me, go to the Ask the Builder website, askthebuilder.com, sign up for my newsletter, and thanks for watching, and thanks for your bus driver. Thanks so much for that question. That was a really good, really good question. But those trees didn't burn because they couldn't get hot enough to boil off all the water that's inside the tree. That's what's going on. All right, thanks very much. I'm Tim Carter, Ask the Builder.